Hi everyone, hope you're all doing well. I'm Sita Lakshmi Lakshmanan, a recent graduate from the Emily Carr University of Art and Design, and I'm currently based in Vancouver. Today, I'd like to talk about intergenerational aid in the 21st century. I researched into this topic as part of my master's thesis and would love to share my journey in acknowledging and designing for the day-to-day digital support that seniors need. I'm sure you have all heard queries like this from a senior, and by senior in this context, I refer to someone who's aging and over 60 years. There's a sudden pop-up on the site asking for my email ID. How do I proceed? Did I click something wrong? My phone says I need to update my storage. Can you teach me how to do it? How do I add a new contact in this phone? Many of these interactions may have been with senior parents, grandparents, neighbors, or even friends. I myself was inspired to start this research because of my grandparents. Digital support is increasingly part of our day-to-day interactions with seniors, and through this research I sought to understand what factors influence this intergenerational digital support between seniors and younger generations. What is the role of technology and its design in this context? Let me provide some broader context before we delve in. Internet and technology usage among seniors has gone up by almost 55% in the last 2 decades. And since we live in a time of global aging and rapid digitization of day-to-day services, the number of seniors in the digital world is increasing rapidly. Yet, 48% of seniors still need someone to help set up and show them how to use a new electronic device. According to a recent Pew Research study in the US, technology is still substantially difficult to use for seniors, and this is due to a combination of reasons like age-related slowdown, affordability, access, and poor design of technologies. Yet, technology woes for the elderly are rarely individual problems. Most seniors, first and foremost, ask the people around them, like family, friends, or neighbors for help when dealing with new technologies. These near and dear ones have now become warm experts, the informal and non-professional experts who help seniors to make sense of the digital world. Looking at the agenda for this talk, I'd first like to introduce you to how I went about researching into this topic, focusing particularly on the participatory workshops that I designed and conducted. Here I shall also share some tips to keep in mind when facilitating these kinds of workshops for seniors. Then I will take you through the analysis and key insights derived in my research. These shed light on the whys of intergenerational support, some of the individual barriers and benefits for seniors and younger generations involved, etc. After the analysis, I chose to use these findings to envision 2 perspectives, which I shall share a brief overview of. Firstly, a macro future that systemically identifies various other stakeholders in this context and maps out potential best practices for them to bring about wholesome digital literacy for seniors. And secondly, a micro future, which is a small product design venture wherein I prototyped a mobile application called Una that facilitates digital aid between seniors and younger persons with ease, efficiency, and warmth. For this research, I recruited 13 participants in total, of which close to half were seniors, 55 plus years, and the rest belong to younger generations. And by younger generations, I refer to people in the 20s, 30s, 40s. All these participants had some experience with receiving or providing digital support, either as family members, community volunteers, or neighbors and friends. Some participants even belonged to the same families but were from different generations, revealing 2 sides of the same story. This variety among the participants helped bring in diverse perspectives and lived experiences to the research. I used a number of research methods like precedent studies, service learning at a seniors NGO, and he also conducted semi-structured interviews. These methods helped me empathize with the present. For example, interviews help participants open up about their current intergenerational relationships, their levels of technology adoption, familiarity with digital products, etc. But in this talk, I'd like to focus more on the 2 participatory workshops that I designed and conducted. These acted as wonderful gateways to co-explore the future with my research participants, while the other methods that I used gave me an understanding of current perspectives and needs. The participatory workshops helped unearth deeper sentiments that drove decision making, the subconscious wishes and expectations. Let me start with the first activity that I designed to explore the theme of support as one ages independently. This workshop was designed in two versions for seniors and younger generations and was conducted individually in person with each participant. Firstly, I designed a set of cards, each addressing one aspect of daily life. These include healthcare, home, independence, legal matters, finance, etc. Each card has a question at the back with space to put down answers. These questions explored aspects of how seniors envision themselves going about daily life in the near future. In the image shown here, the first row shows the card front, the second row showing questions at the back for the seniors, and the third row showing the alternate version for younger persons. Let me take the example of a card addressing healthcare as shown here. For seniors, the question would read, in 5 to 10 years, how do you see yourself managing healthcare? And for the younger generations, the question would read, in 5 to 10 years, how do you see the seniors managing healthcare? The seniors referred to here are the ones present in this person's life. The participants were also provided with two rows of stickers. The first row depicts various support systems like family, friends, community, private organizations, and the government. The second row has stickers of the means of accessing these support systems like phones, tablets, laptops, smart devices, or being in person. Using the stickers as aids, participants were encouraged to answer the question on each card and were invited to talk through the answers. This activity proved quite insightful into how seniors envision their life in the near future, about what seniors consider as their key support systems and the role of technology in accessing them. It became clear that those seniors were hesitant to adopt certain technologies like say online banking, grocery shopping, etc. Today, there definitely was an inner wish to be independent in the future and use such technologies for the functional necessities of day-to-day life instead of always depending on near and dear ones. I understood that seniors like the independence promised by technologies but feel hindered by the difficulty in learning how to use them. Moving on to the second activity, this probes into the idea of reciprocity between generations in today's age. I designed this activity to get a glimpse of what younger and older generations wish to give and receive from each other in the 21st century. This workshop was also designed in two versions, one for the seniors and one for younger generations, and was conducted individually with each participant. Every participant was initially given a big sheet with two questions on it. For seniors, as shown in the picture here, the questions would read, what have you given or would like to give to the younger generations? And the second question would read, what would you like to receive from younger generations? And for younger persons, the sheet would ask, what have you received from senior generations and what would you like to give to them? I then provided the participants with a curation of images, post-it notes, markers, and glue. Some examples of the images include houses, piggy banks, forests, laptops, etc. as shown here. Participants were then encouraged to interpret these images as they saw fit and collage in the space provided to answer the questions. They were also invited to talk through the responses. The second activity proved deeply insightful into what each generation wanted to share with each other, and particularly the role of digital support as a commodity of such intergenerational care. It became evident that many seniors wished to receive technological support from younger generations, as this was something that seniors wanted to learn and believed that the younger generations were skilled at. The same meant for many younger persons. They believed that technology was one of the few things that they could give back to seniors, along with time and meals shared together. I understood that intergenerational digital support has the potential to be a new age commodity of care and affection between generations. At the end of these workshops, as part of feedback received, I understood that both seniors and younger generations alike enjoyed the workshops a lot more than the interviews. having colorful stickers, cards, and designing the activities as experiences definitely brought forth a certain excitement and enthusiasm to the workshop. Moreover, I noticed that it was easier and felt more natural for the participants to formulate thoughts and ideas while physically working on these activities. Let me now share some tips that might help when doing interviews or workshops with seniors. Many of these I learned through my own experience in hosting these workshops and having been a volunteer at the Western Seniors Network, an NGO offering support for seniors in Vancouver. Let me start with some pre-session tips. Seniors value trust and goodwill, so it's important to form a relationship and build rapport before starting the research. In my case, most of the research participants were from the Western Seniors Network, so there was already some context. And when I first approached potential participants, it went a long way when I introduced myself, my context, my personal intentions in doing this research. For a lot of seniors, especially when they have retired, they see this research as an opportunity to get to know someone new. So don't keep your approach strictly formal. Explicitly explain the consent form in both verbal and non-verbal formats. Let the seniors verbally know what kinds of activities you would be doing, the tools used, the themes of questions addressed. While all of this may be mentioned in a consent form, it goes a long way when you can communicate this in a conversational manner to a senior. It's far less intimidating and naturally creates space for questions. Be sensitive to the needs of the participants. Allow for flexibility in locations and timings. Keep versions of the workshops to be both online and in person. For example, if one of my participants was not comfortable in using glue or sticking things with her hands, I was able to provide a digital version of the entire workshop on an iPad with bigger touch points that was easier for her to operate. Allow for multiple check-ins before, after, mid-session. For example, right before starting a session, reconfirm that the senior is feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally okay to do the workshop. So going to mid-session tips, it allow some room for conversations to meander. It quite often happened to me that we started at a particular question and we landed elsewhere. It's best to allow some room for this meandering because often it's the senior thinking through the answer with you. Be flexible to follow up with some spontaneous questions because at times this kind of meandering is what takes you to valuable insights that may have never crossed your mind. And because of this meandering, buffer your timeline. It's rarely ever I shall plan these many minutes for this question, and it works out that way. Be prepared in case conversations turn emotional. Sometimes you may also meander into emotional or traumatic experiences. This is especially so in workshops. Participants sometimes get into a flow of conversation when they're physically drawing or sticking things, and it's almost cathartic to ponder upon and talk about certain instances in their lives. In such scenarios, when you sense a natural break in the conversation, check in again, be warm and compassionate, and finally check if they're okay with you recording this material or if they'd like for you to discard it. And always have a list of support resources handy in case the conversation turns very emotional. For seniors, as I mentioned, often this is not just them providing you with data, but also spending quality time with a younger person. So be empathetic and conversational. Make sure not just to always ask questions, but also participate in the conversation, both enthusiastically and empathetically. Because in my situation, say I delved into personal topics like intergenerational expectations from family members. Some of my participants felt a bit vulnerable when sharing such details. So it's super important to create an atmosphere of safety and empathy that is free of judgment. Moving on to post-session tips, check in again, see if they feel okay and that they still wish for you to use this data. Let them know about your plans with the research, if you might reach out to them again, when that might tentatively be, and be thoughtful in choosing the gift for participation. Participants really love a personal gift of gratitude. I was able to make hand-done illustrated thank you cards, stickers, and put together some chocolates as you see in the image here. This really kept things warm, personal, and appreciative of the relationship. And seniors are definitely sensitive to these small acts of kindness. This goes a long way in honoring the time spent together and this new friendship made. So moving on, after collecting all the data, I did a thematic analysis and came up with key insights, some of which I shall share with you now. Most elderly, due to their slow pace of learning, require a continuity of learning over an extended period of time for them to achieve familiarity. Rapidly evolving tech and frequent updates make the elderly feel like they constantly need help to achieve familiarity. A lack of accessible user interfaces, inclusive onboarding experiences, and sufficient troubleshooting features makes it difficult for seniors to adopt technologies independently. Seniors heavily rely on the trust, goodwill, and personal rapport established within human relationships to expose themselves to new digital experiences. Feelings of intergenerational reciprocity and filial piety in relationships often motivate both elderly to ask for help and younger generations to provide digital support. Though younger persons want to help, these also sometimes lack the time and patience due to their busy lives. And some younger persons are also demotivated by the general unwillingness and distrust seniors sometimes have to try new technologies. The process of digital support is made more tiring for younger generations by the lack of apt technological tools and aids. Shown here is a more detailed visualization of the insights. Feel free to access this in the link to my thesis document that I have provided at the bottom of the page. Post the analysis of my data, I decided to situate digital support in a broader systemic perspective. The insights derived from this research helped me understand how complex the larger issue of digital literacy is for the elderly. Intergenerational digital support is but one facet of tackling digital inclusivity for seniors. The truth is that though seniors like relying on younger family friends and younger persons want to help, on a practical scale, the quantity and frequency of support required is too much to bear by just the younger generations. Other stakeholders in this picture, like the community, governments, and technology companies, must also acknowledge their responsibility and shoulder this burden. There needs to be collective action from each of these stakeholders to truly progress with regards to bridging this digital divide. A systemic change is the only long-term answer, considering the scale of a global crisis such as this. In light of this, I mapped various stakeholders in society who have a role to play in this context of seniors and their relationship with technology. I then came up with strategies for each of them to cohesively implement in order to bring about wholesome change. As shown in the map, the first tier of support for a senior is typically provided by family. These include neighbors, relatives, and immediate family. Family can guide the senior with onboarding digital products till they achieve a certain level of familiarity. The next ring of support is provided by community, which includes workplaces, neighborhoods and societies, community centers, NGOs, etc. These can provide a variety of programs for digital calibration, tech coaching, and awareness. The third ring in this map is formed by the government. These are the hospitals, tax institutions, law enforcement agencies, public transit, social services, etc. These can allow for a slow and supportive transition to online services. The final ring is formed by the private sector, comprising telecommunication, housing, safety, social media, insurance, etc. This ring permeates the daily lives of seniors and other stakeholders as closely as family sometimes, given its utility. The private sector needs to understand and design products with the forethought that onboarding may take time for a senior and other sections of users. Shown here is a more detailed visualization with an expanded list of strategies. I shall not delve into the details now due to time constraints, but feel free to access the larger map in the link that I have provided at the bottom of the page. Going ahead, after having done this research, I also wondered if there was a small step that I, as an interaction designer, would take meanwhile to contribute to this larger ecosystem of progress. A systemic change of the scale proposed would take a long time to come into effect fully. This research so far helped me understand the magnitude of potential that this informal digital support has in creating and maintaining intergenerational relationships, a valuable asset in this age of widening generational isolation. I wonder then if there is some way to make the process of digital support less burdensome for the younger generations and focus more on its relationship building capacities. Then this would highly benefit both seniors and the younger persons involved. It is in this spirit that I designed and prototyped Una, a mobile application to better facilitate this intergenerational digital support. Named in the spirit of togetherness and oneness, Una allows seniors to call and share their screens with known younger persons to receive digital assistance. The warm experts are provided with a variety of visual guides like masks, pointers, gestures, etc., while screen sharing to efficiently guide and support the seniors. Una was designed after 2 rounds of user testing. Feel free to read up on my thesis in the link shown below to know more about the design process involved. Let me now take you through the key features of Una using a simple use case scenario of a daughter, Diane, teaching her aging parent, Lisa, how to buy a steamer on Amazon. On the left, you will see Lisa's screens and on the right, Diane's. This is to help you understand the 2 versions of Una, one for the warm expert and the other for the senior. First, Lisa opens the Una app on her phone and clicks Diane's profile from her list of contacts of warm experts in her life. Lisa messages Diane to check if she is free for a call. Diane sees that she has a message from her mom and opens the app. She replies asking her mom to call her. Lisa calls her daughter, and after quickly catching up, Lisa shares her screen and opens the Amazon app. As Diane sees her mom's screen, she begins guiding her mom through the process of buying a steamer. She first starts with an arrow to show her mom how to search for the product. From the call menu, which contains some of her most used visual guides, she picks, edits and places the arrow before showing it to her mom. Diane uses a combination of visual guides like masks, pointers, gestures and floating commands to instruct her mom through the process of buying the steamer. By using these tools, she is able to teach her mom not just the basic know-how, but also nuances like say checking for product ratings, confirming the number of products in the cart, sending it as a gift, etc. With the help of Diane's verbal instructions and visual guides, Lisa quickly finishes ordering her steamer and they say their goodbyes. Feeling grateful for the help, Lisa selects a sticker from the curation provided by Una when the call ends and sends it to Diane. Later, when Diane checks her messages and sees the sticker, she feels the warmth and affection her mom wanted to share through this simple act. As you saw, Una focuses on bringing ease, efficiency and warmth to this existing process of digital support within established relationships. The convenience and speed that Una provides would save time and energy, which are precious commodities for younger persons. And the variety of visual guides also makes the overall learning process more inclusive, comfortable and easier for seniors. With intergenerational digital support already being a widespread and preferred option, Una can ease the experience for all generations involved until other stakeholders like technology companies and governments can share the burden of support. So as you see in this map, I realized that Una as an app has the potential to transcend known relationships and act as a bridge between seniors and the communities, governments, private sectors and other stakeholders. This reduces the burden on family members and creates multiple tiers of support for a senior. So going into the details, Una as an app can be used by family members and friends to help with important queries from seniors. It can be used by the communities for tech coaching services, senior organization and NGOs. They can help seniors with digital support and outreach programs. Una can be used by government officials to guide seniors with their digital services and help seniors transition to online services. And Una can definitely be a part of the private sector for a lot of social media companies, tech companies, to be part of their customer support services. So as we see in this research, intergenerational digital support is a widely popular system of support for seniors with a myriad of complexities though, ranging from feelings of filial piety and gratitude to feelings of dependency and burden. The support is not without its strengths and weaknesses. If technology and design can work in tandem with seniors and younger generations, to capitalize on these benefits and overcome the barriers, digital support would be a wonderful addition to the language of love and care within relationships. Children helping parents, grandkids helping grandparents, volunteers helping community neighbors. There's a potential for warm tech interactions everywhere around us. Going ahead, I hope we can continue searching into the social and contextual impacts of technology to make it more inclusive and accessible for various generations of users. As fellow humans who will face aging at some point or the other, I hope that with empathy and compassion, we can work towards making the lives of seniors more inclusive, confident, and joyous. Thank you everyone for attending this talk, and I look forward to answering any questions that you may have.